Gojo has been sealed. Alright? Look at that though. Ah. Whoa! 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 Suguru's body? Whoa! That is interesting. That is fascinating. The body is part of the soul. Each technique gets its own worldview. Alright, good to know. Unless the man inside kills himself. Now does that apply to how does that work when if Gojo uses a reverse curse technique? Because Gojo is actively killing himself while also regenerating himself, right? Like, is that a possibility? I'm guessing not, because otherwise he would have just immediately do it and then, you know. But that is a fascinating, it's an interesting rule, that's for sure. So I guess now Gojo is effectively out of the picture, right? For the time being. Whoa. You know, for somebody who is dead, Mekamaru's puppets are really sentient in the present timeline. Four veils. Veils within veils, man. Oh. These two. Oh. Whoa! Okay. Whoa, look at that. It's crying? These visuals though. I like how chill he is. He's like, he's putting his trust on everybody here. You know, like, kind of goes to show like Gojo. Like how much Gojo trusts everybody at Jujutsu High. His companions, his friends, his students. These two and their expression there. Whoa. Yeah, exactly. This is a very calculated plan. Like the veils within veils and everything. Like they know what they're doing and they know what to expect. So. Oh God. Oh God. No. Damn it, man. Damn it. I mean, it's nice seeing familiar faces even if they are the enemy, but at the same time, it's like,
動かせないね。
One of Mekamaru's puppets.
奴ら封印した五条地下5階から動かせない。
なんで？
五条悟だから。
Why? Because he's Gojo. Makes sense, yeah.
向かわせろったってイジッさんと連絡つかねえし。
I hope somebody finds him soon, man. Ijichi, I mean. Oh. I mean, look at this animation though, like, come on. Okay, Yuji. Small fries, but... Tell them all. Oh, look at his eyes.
二人とも予定変更です。
Yeah. Change your plans.
封印が本当なら終わりです。この国の人間すべて。
That's not really... That's not reassuring me. Not, I mean... if that is true, then everybody's fucked. Kind of sets up the stakes, you know.
釘崎野原を殺す。その後高専に保管されている他の弟たちを回収する。
釘崎とやらは知らんが虎杖はダメだ。少なにする。
関係ない。
Not liking that they're kind of... Not liking that they're kind of going for Nobara here as well, like...
虎杖殺しちゃおう。大丈夫。少ななんていなくたって俺たちなら勝てるさ。
本気か。
本気と書いて大マジさ。
They're being overly confident here. Especially with the whole Sukuna thing, because Sukuna is like...
少なは味方ではない。
Yeah, exactly.
いつらを恐れず、目的のために裏表のない道を歩む。それが偽物どもにはない呪いの真髄だ。
違うっしょ。
ね？
軸がぶれようと一貫性がなかろうと、偽りなく欲求の赴くままに行動する。
The difference in philosophies here.
ゲトはどちらかといえば情報派だろ？どうする？
私は獄門鏡を見ていないといけない。
Right, right,
遠慮
right.
させてもらうよ。
よーい、ダーン
Damn. I mean, Jogo kind of had the right idea.
返せ。
Oh,
サルどもを落とし続けた。約
monkeys.
束通りゲトウ様の体を返せ。
Ah,
ゲトウ様をこれ以上もてあそぶな。
ah.
後悔するぞ。
後悔か。
Oh, great shot there. Hiding the face and everything. Beautiful, beautiful. There's a lot of setup in this episode, which I kind of like. All right, calm down, Yuji.
おい。
緊急事態だ。マルチタスクで頼む。
シノゴの言ってる場合
Oh,
ではな
great
い
shot.
か。
一つ五条家の失墜。五条家は五条悟のワンマンチーム。五条さんが聞かせていた融通かっこわがままで救われていた術師が数多くいる。そしてその2、パワーバランスの崩壊。五条悟がいるからという理由でおとなしくしていた呪詛師、呪霊たちが一斉に動き出す。
The visualization, though, of using Gojo's shadow. Huh.
行くぜ後輩ちゃんぜ。七海さんが戻る前に帳をぶっ壊す。五条悟を助けろ。
Whoa! Oh, beautiful. Beautiful shot there.
泡坂が聞こえた
Oh.
か。五条悟が封印された。
マジで封印されたんだな、五条悟。興奮してきたぜ。
Who are these? Who are these people? All right, that was, I would say, a really good transitional episode. You know, like this is more of a setup episode, but it is, of course, kind of necessary considering what just happened in the previous set of episodes, right? Gojo getting sealed and everything. Now we're trying to, trying to find a way, trying to figure out, okay, how do we unseal Gojo Satoru, right? How are we going to deal with all of this, right? And I think the episode does a pretty good job at kind of explaining to the audience how dire the situation is, the how high the stakes are, you know, when multiple characters, especially I would say like high-ranking characters like Nanami, just just basically saying, "Oh, Gojo getting sealed. Well, if that's true, well then essentially we're fucked. Essentially we're doomed. We gotta get him out somehow." And it's a really nice, I would say, um, it's a nice episode where we kind of where we as an audience can just sit back and kind of take a breather just for a bit. Nothing major happened here, but there is a lot of interesting setup, as I mentioned, that will probably play out more and more, not just throughout this arc specifically, but also throughout the series in general. Like there's a lot of interesting ideas and also philosophies being thrown in here, and definitely something to to keep an eye on. For example, like the whole body and soul discussion, which is probably like I could guarantee most people who are reacting to this show, if they do a review, they're probably going to be focusing a lot on that body and soul aspect, because it is interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. I mean, during the scene itself, while it is kind of sad to see once again Gojo looking up to what used to be Ghetto and still referring to it as Ghetto, but then the shocking moment where the body itself just is kind of trying to resist the mind control of whatever it is that is controlling the body, right? We still have no idea what it is. We still have no idea what kind of curse it is. We don't have any names for it. Like, it is still a major mystery, and that is what makes it terrifying, to say the least, because there is terror and horror in the unknown, right? Mankind fears the unknown. Things that we don't understand, we tend to hate it. And in the case of Ghetto, we as an audience at this point have no idea what is happening here, what is going on here. Like, what is the threat level of this thing? Is it more of a threat than Sukuna or not? Kind of doubt it, but you'll never know, right? If at least from an intelligence point of view, this is a very intelligent curse, right? A very intelligent spirit, because again, like, this whole ordeal of capturing Gojo is very calculated. So many veils within veils. Like, there's already a lot of plans being set in motion, and they're not. And technically speaking, they kind of succeeded, right? Gojo is sealed. But we'll talk about Gojo being sealed later. But going back to like the body and soul thing, kind of getting sidetracked there just for a bit. But the body and soul thing, right? Isn't that fascinating? This idea that there is still a soul residing within the body, and what does that make? And how does that tie in with the rest of JJK? Well, a lot, actually. I mean, the very foundational aspect of a curse itself, right? I mean, look at JJK 0, for example. You look at Rika, I believe her name was, and you look at like how there's still definitely a soul there, even though Rika's body is destroyed, right? Physically speaking, she is dead, and yet she still lives on as a curse, as a spirit that still has some form of intelligence, some form of memory, some form of attachment to a lot of her surroundings, right? To Yuta specifically, and just from that alone, and the many instances where we do see, these cursed spirits, and I guess who they were beforehand, right? Some interesting stuff, right? Some interesting stuff, and now we're kind of seeing this kind of the opposite, where instead of seeing the human soul, instead of seeing the human soul in a monstrous form, in a way, we're seeing that human soul still residing within in a way, the corpse of a body, right, that is being controlled by a spirit. Which leads to the possibility or leads to the question of, can Geto be quote-unquote resurrected? In many such situations, at least for the time being, looking at like all of the details and all of the I guess all of the rules of the world, Jujutsu Kaisen's rules are kind of it's definitely out there. You know, like I wouldn't consider myself to be as somebody who knows the rules at all. So, you know, bear with me here. But I don't think it is a possibility for Geto to come back. At least not as a whole, right? Because I mean, at this point, he's practically missing a brain, you know, like, which is the very functions of a human being. But it's more so the soul, right? It's therein lies the philosophical debate of like, okay, so let's just say Geto's brain is gone and is being replaced by a parasite brain that is kind of controlling the body, and yet the soul still resides within the body and takes control of the body, which means that the body still have a conscience, which means the conscience comes from the soul and not from the brain. So like, how does that work, right? And sure, we're probably going to be seeing more and more of that in the future, perhaps maybe not in this arc, maybe in a future arc where things are kind of more relevant, who knows, right? But just the idea of it being implanted within this episode itself, and specifically towards Geto himself, also kind of adds in the question of like, okay, what's gonna happen to Yuji in the future, right? Because Yuji's situation is in a way similar, right? Where there is a curse residing within Yuji, right? Sukuna is half of Yuji at this point, right? Heck, we even see a very similar moment of the body resisting the curse in the first episode of JJK, right? When Yuji just suddenly say, hey, hold on now, Sukuna, hold on, this is my body. Let me have control of this, right? And that leads to the dynamic that we see now, right? But at that point, Yuji isn't really dead. So yeah, a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to unravel. Obviously, at this point within the story, there isn't much to explain or to dissect more, unless until like much later, if we do end up getting more information about all of this idea, if Gege, the mangaka, of course, if they decided to expand further on this concept, which will be nice. But for now, for the time being, it is I would say it's a nice thought exercise of like the difference between our consciousness, the soul, and our body and everything. Really interesting, to say the least. We're putting a pin on that. We'll come back to this discussion much later when we need to. But speaking of still within the same scene of this whole conversation, the whole crux of this conflict, right? Gojo finally getting sealed, and the idea that Gojo could maybe potentially just escape, right? Even though that's not gonna happen. But it is kind of funny, right? It is kind of funny how it is almost it is a joke at this point. But like every question that we have about Gojo, like why is he this and that, the answer is like, well, because he's Gojo, and we are here just to accept that. Like, okay, sure, that is if the answer is just his name, that is a perfect explanation. I don't really need to, I don't need further explanation to that. I can just accept that and move on. But Gojo being sealed, Gojo seemingly, I don't know, just the idea that they can't really move Gojo from that spot, and him being stuck there, but also the fact that Gojo is kind of putting his trust on a lot of his friends, his students, especially. Like if you look at Gojo with inside of that cube, that seal thing, crazy visual inside of it, like all of this skulls, like dead bodies trying to, seal away Gojo, but how nonchalant Gojo is, and he's just like, well, they'll figure it out. I know my friends outside. They'll handle this. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't think this is a situation where Gojo's nonchalantness and his almost I would say his almost his calmness, I don't think this is the moment where we need to be calm. I feel like this is the moment where things are not going the way they're supposed to go. I mean, heck, Yijichi, for example, just getting stabbed multiple times. Now, I mean, sucks to see, but at the same time, I'm like kind of hoping that he could potentially survive. But like, unless somebody finds him, he's just gonna be there, on that road crossing, and I'm like, that's already like one a victim of our squad, that we do love, I mean, I guess including Mekamaru, that's kind of two at this point, and still more to come, obviously. But yeah, going back to like Gojo being sealed, they did mention that that this specific cube can only be used once to entrap one person, and if they do want to use it again, well, then the person inside has to die, right? That's the only way the thing can, I guess, reactivate. I could be wrong on that, but if that is the case, then I did bring up a question during the reaction, right? How does Gojo's reverse curse technique, how will that work in this situation? Like, is that a possibility? Because I mean, the way that works, right, from my understanding, is that with how Gojo operates, with how he uses his techniques, he is constantly destroying himself from overusing his powers, while also regenerating himself and healing himself using reverse curse techniques, right? And that's why he's Gojo Satoru. That's why he's a broken character that is overpowered, right? But like how does that work? Like, can he use that or can he not use that? Like what's the rule set in that, right? Because I'm thinking of like, well, okay, can Gojo technically kill himself? And in that split nanosecond, as he quote unquote dies, will the cube sealed thing just opens up, let's go regurgitate Gojo out, and then at that moment he can just reactivate reverse curse technique? Like, could that happen? Is that a possibility? Especially with the whole idea, the whole notion of like the body and soul that we, that conversation a while ago. Like, how does that factor in when it comes to death? Because that is exactly what is happening throughout all of JJK, right? A person quote unquote dies, but then his spirit and everything is still kind of alive, is still kind of, kicking in the form of a curse, right? So is that a possibility? Could that be a thing? Am I overthinking it? Is Gojo going to escape on his own using whatever technique that is at his disposal, or are we actually going to be seeing our squad, Yuji or Nanami or Nobara and all of the gang, Megumi, actually coming in and actually finding a way to open that seal, right? I don't know. But I feel like that is kind of like the two possibilities, right? But I guess we shall see what's gonna happen in the future. But like the fact that Gojo is being very nonchalant about all of this, being very he's not really that concerned, at least from the visual that we are being presented as. But yeah, something to keep in mind when it comes to like the future episodes of this arc specifically. But beyond all of that, fantastic episode, like I said. Some really cool dynamic shots and whatever. Like at this point, it's kind of an obvious no-brainer that this production has been really, really good. Like, what I'm trying to say is like, it's impressive. Don't get me wrong; it's very impressive. But we have set the standard, and that standard is high, and they've been consistent with it. So while I may not necessarily be blown away by some of it, it's mostly because I am always in a constant state of being blown away. Does that make sense? Like, all I'm seeing from beginning to end here has always been excellent, 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 to the point where, well, it's gonna be excellent. It's gonna be excellent either way. It becomes normal, which is a very high compliment that I can give. If the high setting that you've been setting up is still consistent and it becomes like the norm, they've done something incredible. And yeah, really cool episode. Really enjoyed it. Scared for some of our characters, especially, you know, we're already seeing minor characters being killed off or being injured fatally left, right, and center. But we'll see. We'll see where things go. We'll see how this a bit of infighting within the cursed group. Jogo kind of having, you know, he has a point, but at the same time, everybody there has their own ideas and their own kind of I don't want to say ego, but they have their own objectives that they want to do on their own, which I guess is like the complete opposite of our jujutsu team, where they are kind of also at this point calculated, like, all right, you go into that group, and all that stuff. So it's really this, even though this is a calculated plan, as I've already mentioned, it's a calculated plan until they sealed Gojo, because at that point, moving forward, I don't think they have that much of a plan. I think their plan after that is just, well, time to kill the rest of the Jujutsu sorcerers if they do come in. Like that's the plan. Like I don't see any other plan beside that. So yeah, we'll see where things go. Really cool setup episode, which does make for like it does make me feel hyped for like the next couple of episodes, especially with that final shot before the credits. Beautiful collage. I'm not gonna say much about like the end credit scene because I have no idea what that is. I have no idea who these characters are, but they are here and they're gonna do things. So yeah, on with the next episode.
マジかこいつ。打撃だけなら七海さんとタメ張るんじゃねえか。つうかだからこそ。なるほど。帳で自身を囲わずに外に出ることで発見。撃退されるリスクを上げて帳の強度も上げる。
その理屈なら帳の元は
Oh, we're focusing on the building there.
ところにあるんじゃないですか。
目立つ場所。
Yeah, it was very obvious. You know, the way the camera is like focusing on. Ooh.
術師は気づくかな。
Okay, okay.
この帳の中ではここが一番目立つよな。
We saw them at the previous episode's end credit scene.
仮想には例の改造人間がうちゃうちゃいる。
Ah.
すぐには上がってくれねえだろうな。
The comedic timing in that.
可愛い後輩もできたことだし、ここいらで活躍してぼちぼち俺も。
Alright, alright.
死体が綺麗すぎる。術師といえど、
Yeah, be careful.
地上41階からの落下だぞ。
You'll never know.
まったく。若者は年寄りをいたわらんかい。
Oh.
君の術式なら準1級くらいすぐ慣れます。
やっぱ数字って大事だと思うんすよ。
Okay.
特に術師みたいに血生臭い職業には。だから迷った時こう考えるんです。 七海さんならどうするか。来訪随順一番開智。ベストは瞬殺して後輩チャンスと合流だ。
Okay, okay.
慢心はない。
Cast aside pride. Okay.
正直相手よりもこいつに合わせる方が骨が折れる。
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Ooh.
玉剣の爪は特級にも効く。
俺だって本気で殴った。
Yeah.
ダメージがねえんだよ。
Don't underestimate him.
ノーコメント。
Whoa.
何かある。急いだ方がいいな。
Oh, could the grandma, the Bachan, has something to do with it?
雰囲気が変わった。
Yeah.
分かってるよ。
They're like a set. Wait, what did he?
全員当時
Excuse me?
いいよ、ばあちゃん。今までにない。
Okay. Okay. Let's go back in time. Young Gojo? Let's see those eyes. Yeah. 1989.
パパかわいそう。
Oh.
誰？炎か。
Okay.
殺した。下ろして化けるのには死体がいるからな。
Ah.
ごめんなさい。
Skins of.
ここから出してください。
うるさい。人を殺す仕事なんだ。人体の仕組みはよーく知っておかないとね。
But now the question is, of course, do they obtain the ability of the person that they are imitating? I say imitating, but I don't really know for sure, right? Wow. Like Gojo's aura is so immense. And the fact that he knows. Yeah, doesn't matter how high the bounty is.
年々力を増す呪霊。一瞬で理解したその原因を。こいつだ。五条悟だ。フィギュアスケーターがある選手を境に次々とジャンプの回転数を上げるように。五条悟が生まれて世界のバランスが変わったんだ。
That is insane to think about. That is insane to think about. The balance in power changes because Gojo was born. Like, that's how powerful he is. Okay, Megumi.
五条は封印された。お前たちが言ったんだぜ。でかい声でな。
Yeah.
せかだから俺たちがはしゃいでんだろ。
Okay, so he's not necessarily connected to, like, the grandma. As I was saying before, like, the grandma was doing something else. I mean, we know what it is now.
高齢術による変身。あのババアいた子だったのか。なんなんだこいつ。有名な術師か。
Yeah.
4番竜。
Oh no. Oh god.
搬送
He was ready. He was ready to tank that. Yuji. Oh, ooh.
死の一撃。俺の術式はあべこべだ。術式発動中、俺に当たる攻撃は強いほど弱く、弱いほど強くなる。
But Megumi did say that he figured it out, right? He did. Beautiful, beautiful there. They didn't use the weapons as well. It was a bluff.
はじめは打撃力の低いガマ。そこから一気に畳む。
Yeah, look at him now. Couldn't even process what's going on. All right.
お前意外と器用だよな。
そう？
Oh, kind of an bit of an abrupt ending there, but doesn't really matter because I'm gonna be watching the next episode immediately.
己の不甲斐なさに腹が立つなどということは、今までも、そしてこれからも、私の人生ではありえない。
Oh, okay, okay.
ただひたすらに、この現実を突きつけてくる諸悪を、
Is Nanami too late?
ただひたすらに。
Oh. Oh, that quick flash. Oh.
知ってるよね、私の術式。カラスを操る。
Oh, this music. Kind of showcasing the elegance.
やめろ。俺はもうこの件から手を引く。だから助けてくれ。
静かに。まだ姉様の話の途中です。くじけたからこそ、再び自らの術式と向き合うことで、私は一級術師として花開いたのさ。
Yeah, getting a bit theatrical here.
だから命だけは。
ウィウィ、命の価値、命の重さは何に比例すると思う？
もちろん、どれだけ姉様にとって利用価値があるかです。
Okay then.
命を狩る者がその天秤を即答できない。そんなだから負けるんだよ。
Ah, good cut. And so the veil is broken at last. At least the outer veil.
残りは五条先生を閉じ込める帳と一般人を閉じ込める帳だけ。猪野さんと合流して。猪野さん。
Yeah. Bit too late now. Oh god. Megumi's gonna...
どうする？ばあちゃん。どうする？
Oh. Yeah, it's a struggle to keep this form, huh?
孫？
Or was he taken over?
誰に命令してんだ？
Oh my god.
ババ。
We just had the discussion of body and soul in the previous episodes, right?
わしはまだ肉体の情報しか下ろしておらん。
Oh shit. Okay. Interesting.
こういう事態を未然に防ぐため、魂の情報は下ろさんと決めている。
こいつの魂が俺の肉体に勝てなかったんだろう。
魂が肉体に
The soul losing to a body, but the body is a part of the soul, or its own, right? Whoa!
てめえも術師だろ。
Oh, nice cut. Oh, it would be interesting to see if Maki is gonna meet Toji as well, right? The Fushiguro and descendants of the current generation.
おじいじやる気なさすぎる。
はい、酒。
無視しろ。行け。
猪野さんは
大丈夫じゃねえけど。
Okay, he's not dead.
死んじゃいない。
Okay, good.
心配すんなって。メカ丸もついてるし。
まあメカ丸はもうずっと反応ないんだけど。
Yeah.
おい
Oh god.
帳が上がったようだね。
思っていたより早かったな。
He was expecting this to happen regardless, huh? Oh god.
新田ちゃん隠れてて。すぐ終わるから。釘崎さんも無理はしないで。
こそこそ話
Not good. Not good.
ああ、隠れちゃった。危なっ
It's like
自ら丸腰とかなめつかや。
you're never safe in the situation, right? You'll never know who you're gonna be facing against when you turn a corner. Oh god. It's following her. Oh no. Oh, look at that though. He was embracing it.
新田ちゃん。
Oh, did that? Yeah, concussion.
顎入った立てないねえ、立てないねえってばー
Nanami needs to come in quick. He is in the vicinity.
さて、どっちから殺そうか
Oh god.
てめえらは。
ん
何がしてんだよ。
The bar's fighting it though.
うまく言えないなっていうか
I forget what it is with her, with his
そんなに
like
大事
tattoo, but it's definitely one of his powers.
それでいいじゃん
Oh! Nanami! Oh, he's toying with her. Ah, she's still weak though. Nanami, come on. We are about to see an ass whooping.
ななみさん。
Oh, look at his eyes. Look at his stance. Look at the way he's walking.
女の子が人質になってるでしょ
His reaction.
仲間の数と配置は
知らない
An immovable object.
知らない
Let's go, Nanami. Nanami is pissed. Jesus. Oh, the light flickering as well. From that punch alone and already like the tattoos on his left eye. Good job. No, good job, Nobara. Good job. Read the room.
ここに来るまで何人もの補助監督が殺されていました。
Yeah.
あなたですね。
Oh, look at how pathetic he is. Fall on him. Yeah. Haven't seen Nanami this pissed. Yeah. Not even worthy for his blade, right? Oh.
メイさん、お久しぶりです。
資格を放っておいてよく言うよ、ゲトウ君。
Okay, let's see this.
なぜ生きてる？去年五条君がしくじったか。
Logical questions.
私は五条君より君を買っていたんだよ。ニヒルな笑顔もチャーミングだった。おそらくこのゲトウ君は偽物だ。
Alright.
メイさん、私も残念です。
Smallpox. Oh.
領域展開。閉じ込められた。姉様。
Jeez.
ビクトセブリかな。私の命に指がかかるのは。
Oh, okay, she's excited. Wee as well.
じゃあ、イディチさんは
Okay,
無事なん
good,
すね。
good, good.
二人はここで救護を待ってください。私は全員さんたちと地下5階に向かいます。
私も。
ダメです。
Yeah.
ここで待機を。
You know, Nanami learning from past experiences, right? Former colleagues getting killed and all.
虎杖裕二、弟の敵。
Oh, don't end it. Okay, episode 11 and 12 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I think I mean, of course, there are a couple of things to digest, a lot of things to discuss. You know, Toji, you know, suddenly appearing, a continuation of the idea or the perspective of like the body being its own soul or the body connected to the soul and all of that stuff. But also like the idea of Gojo Satoru being an imbalance to the world, essentially, right? Because the fact that him being born and the result is that there's a lot more curses are a lot more powerful. It is, yeah, it is kind of an interesting idea to have, but it's also kind of quite terrifying at the same time. I mean, at this point, you know, the idea of Gojo Satoru being like the strongest and the very best has always been information that we know. Sometimes we joke about it, you know, it's kind of a meme at this point, like how strong Gojo is. But I love how the show is, or the story is, balancing Gojo's powers, Gojo's character, with an actual in-universe explanation of, yeah, Gojo being powerful also results in curses being more rampant and more powerful because there is always a need for balance in the world, in the universe, I suppose. And I really like that approach. I really like this fact because it doesn't because this information itself already shows that Gojo Satoru is not above all, right? That is essentially what this information is trying to give off, that no matter what Gojo is, no matter how many times Gojo wins in certain scenarios in the past, he is not above all. There is always going to be an equal to Gojo to a degree, right? And the fact that he is already being sealed right now is already showing that, you know. And in fact, I was going to mention this, you know, when they were showing Geto as well in these episodes. Geto, right, in quotations. But, you know, a part of me is thinking like, what if whatever it is that is controlling Geto, this brain parasite, whatever it is, you know, what if this is also born, this curse is born out of the overpoweredness of Geto, of Gojo. And what I mean is, what if this specific character is like the answer to counterbalancing Gojo, like his existence here right now is a direct result of Gojo Satoru being alive, right? And I kind of like that idea, especially since the relation between Gojo and Geto alone is already really dynamic and really interesting. Spinning that around by having whatever this is controlling Geto, it really adds more to, I guess, their dynamic even more, right? The fact that you can look at them as like a balance towards each other, like a yin and a yang to a degree, right? However, having said all of that, of course, there is, I would say, another imbalance right now, and that is, of course, Sukuna, right? Sukuna, I would say, is the current imbalance. Because I don't think nobody expects him to be here, right? And even then, right now, we still haven't seen him pop up, right? This past season of season 2, right? He hasn't appeared yet. And really, he is as I've already mentioned multiple times before, he is the outside factor. He is the third party that can cause imbalance, that will disrupt the natural order of things. So that is, that is something to consider, And who is going to be balancing Sukuna, if not our own main character, right, of Yuji? And that's kind of like why I kind of like this dynamic between Yuji and Sukuna as well. Because, it's pretty obvious at this point, the main antagonist is going to get balanced by the main protagonist. So, yeah. Talking about Toji for a minute now. Guess who's back? Back again. Toji being back right now for the Shibuya arc already kind of disrupts the order of things, because Toji is not in anyone's side, right? Let's just make this perfectly clear. Toji is not going to be on the side of the Jujutsu sorcerers, and Toji is also not going to be on the side of the curses, right? So this is already an outside factor within this specific arc, and we haven't even introduced Sukuna yet. I don't even know if Sukuna is going to be in this arc, it would be crazy if they don't show Sukuna at all, but I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, we're going to show Sukuna eventually, like, he's in the opening. Yeah. But yeah, Toji, right? And him kind of controlling, I guess, the host of his body that is currently being taken, but well, now he's overtaken it again. So how does this work, right? This adds in another question of like, okay, so Toji right now, at least the soul that is within his body is taking over whoever that was, right? That was with the grandma and such. But how long is this gonna last, right? These are questions that I'm sure we're gonna get answers to, but it is questions that I do have right now that makes this encounter a lot more interesting, because a lot can happen and a lot of unexpected things can surprise me. So how is this gonna change the dynamic? Is Toji gonna be here for the long run again? Like, is this a way for the author Gege to actually reintroduce Toji despite already killing him in the hidden inventory arc? Or is this just gonna be like a one-time appearance for this specific arc, perhaps maybe to reconnect him with Megumi, perhaps, right? Have that father-son conversation before maybe him passing away. Like, we don't know. Like, there are rules to this, and I don't think the rules for him specifically has been discussed. Unless it has been discussed and it just flew right over my head. So, typical JJK, basically. But yeah, really exciting stuff. I absolutely do want to see Megumi interact with Toji. At this point, I think it would be a waste to not have them interact. If we're gonna be reintroducing Toji in an era where Megumi exists, much older now, much more mature, you know, it would make sense for them to interact, right? But if not, then hopefully, you know, whatever they have plans for him is worth it. But yeah, I also mentioned, you know, the possibility of Maki, you know, of Maki Zenin to interact with Toji as well, because, you know, the two clans, right? Who knows? But yeah, some cool fights in these two episodes. Really, really well done fights as always. You know, I do think that these fights, I would describe these as like secondary fights to a degree. And what I mean is, like, we're not really fighting, you know, it's not necessarily main protagonists against main antagonists, you know. Gojo fighting Jogo, Geto, Hanami, I would consider that to be like a main fight, right? Because these are main characters from both sides fighting against each other. And in the sense of, with these fights, it's, yes, we are looking at the main characters, but they're fighting against secondary antagonists, you know, secondary antagonists, secondary characters that I don't really know, like, their current role in the hierarchy of power of, you know, of the other side, of the antagonists, of the villains, or whatever party they are in. So really, it's a matter of, like, well, you're fighting against the main protagonist, the main characters. There is a bit of that safety net of, you know, main protagonists, you know, defenses, you know, like main character power armor and such. But I do love that despite that, when Nobara is fighting against I'm forgetting his name, Haruta, I do love that them adding Akari Nita into the mix adds that tension, right? Because while, you know, with Nobara, there is that, you know, again, like, there is that main protagonist, armor, but then again, you know, Nobara's not technically the main character, right? Yuji is. Anything can happen at this case, but the likelihood of Nobara surviving, compared to Akari surviving, is a lot different. You know what I mean? So, you know, there was tension there, and I do appreciate that. But of course, Hanami coming in and just whooping Haruta, and it's not even in competition at that point. You know, it was a, but yeah, really cool set of episodes. I cannot wait to watch the next episode. But